Sukuna is considered either anime's biggest menace or biggest fraud nowadays, but what role would he take in the battle against the S-Class from One Punch Man? The rules here will be simple. I will consider the outcome if the verses were equalized, meaning cursed energy was present and without it, and Sukuna will climb from the lowest S-Class members to the highest. I will also scale Sukuna as high as possible using his current composite feats, that being with Mahoraga and his most recent battle with Kashimo, because let's be real, using any comparable attacks Sukuna is weakened by, he doesn't touch most of the S-Class by the end of the fight we're going through here. Everyone listed on screen likely beats Sukuna with no difficulty unless they're somehow caught off guard or out of character. So cheer if your favorite character is here, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe and check out the Discord down below. Maybe even consider donating. Christmas is coming up, the time of giving, and I'm willing to give videos based on those donations.
What do you mean by that?
This sounds really weird. Basically what I'm trying to say is if you donate and say what type of video you want, I will of course make that video coming up soon. There's an entire system for this in my Discord, so just join if you want more information on that or check out the links down below. Sukuna, the King of Curses, is pretty simple to scale and has some very interesting abilities, which I'd love to go over first before any of the S-Class stuff. If I get anything wrong or miss anything, please correct me in the comments. Of course, I apologize in advance. Don't kill me. Sukuna has access to regeneration using reverse curse technique, allowing him to recover from any wound that doesn't completely destroy his head or brain. With a continued focus on cursed energy and techniques, Sukuna has a plethora of abilities, but the essential ones in his arsenal are Dismantle and Cleave. Dismantle is a technique used specifically against opponents without cursed energy, being Sukuna's standard attack for dealing with cursed spirits and sorcerers alike. Cleave, his more impressive technique, is an attack that adjusts its potency to the durability of any targets with cursed energy. It's further stated to evolve to a point where it can slash through what's described as the world and existence, essentially bypassing durability and barriers of all sorts to guarantee a slash with enough strength to take the target down if it connects. While in possession of Megumi's body, he has access to all his Shikigami, which can create lightning and water-based attacks. Most importantly though, he can summon Mahoraga, a being who can continuously adapt to any and all phenomena that don't essentially one-tap or erase it. Sukuna can take possession of Mahoraga's wheel, the device that allows it to do this adaptation, to further develop and evolve his own techniques to counter ones used on him. Now, as someone not completely familiar with Jujutsu Kaisen scaling, I believe the attack has to connect or be witnessed for the one in possession of the wheel to adapt. Using his domain expansion, Sukuna can seemingly guarantee a hit of his cleave attack for any target within 200 meters of the radius, making him an insanely powerful opponent. Not to mention he has auxiliary abilities like domain amplification that allows him to bypass barriers made of cursed energy, his cursed tool that creates lightning attacks, and his fire arrow that scales above Jogo, a cursed spirit that was essentially the incarnation of flames and fire. Moving on to the numbers everyone loves so much, on screen are Sukuna's stats from low ball to high ball for each category, and I will explain each of them independently. Starting with attack potency, Sukuna can be scaled as low as town level using calcs for Gojo's Hollow Purple against Hanami and the visual destruction in the anime in his fight against Mahoraga, all the way up to island level using some statements and implications from within the series. In order to achieve island level scaling for Sukuna, I'm taking at face value the creation of constructs within domains like Dagon's creation of an island and Jogo's creation of a mountain. But beyond this, we have statements like Gojo being able to power an entire country using his energy, which can be calculated extremely high depending on the duration of this. And of course, Sukuna eventually scaled to Gojo in order to defeat him. Not only that, it's heavily implied that Sukuna could even reach planetary due to weaker sorcerers techniques having similar potential and statements referring to him as being someone who could do so. Because of this, we will operate under the assumption that Sukuna is at least island level with the possibility for planetary, and we of course will match his durability to this for all intents and purposes. I know this can be debunked quite easily since you'd have to scale Gojo nearly as high, but all things considered, I think island level isn't much of a stretch when considering we've seen attacks threaten the planet before within the series. Moving on to speed, Sukuna, while toying with Kashimo, was able to dodge not only his lightning, but his electromagnetic wave attacks, which literally move at the speed of light by definition. This of course means Sukuna is at least the speed of light since he could catch and react to Kashimo after transforming. Now that we've done a pretty dumbed down explanation of Sukuna's power and potential, let's start by matching him against the S-Class from bottom to top. I will just clear out all the losers now. Pig God, Zombie Man, Puri Puri Prisoner, and Tank Top Master are probably dying instantly. Even if we give Sukuna his town level attack potency, his speed and techniques, especially with access to Mahoraga and his wheel, would guarantee he will win via either his domain expansion or a simple cleave during a speed blitz. None of these members of the S-Class have showcased enough FTL speed feats, so Sukuna speed blitz and kills them instantly using cleave under the pretense that the verse has equalized stats. And I'd argue even without it, his cleave would adapt to their toughness to damage them, and he himself would still be untouchable despite their overall AP being higher. Moving on to rank 13 Metalbat, things get a tad bit more interesting. You see, Sukuna has a bad habit of toying with his opponents because of his love for battle. While this isn't an issue for weaker S-Class members, Metalbat in particular scales up the more damage he takes. If Sukuna doesn't default to his cleave attack, it's very likely Metalbat will easily go from his usual town to city level AP to Sukuna's AP, allowing him to damage and easily kill him. Metalbat has a high pain tolerance and is also able to keep up with Sukuna, scaling to Garo in at least reaction times which he could react to and fight alongside him. Sukuna likely still takes his fight with the usage of cleave and using Mahoraga as a fighting shield, but Metalbat does have a chance to win under certain circumstances. I give this a Sukuna with low to medium difficulty. Genos is up next, and he is a huge jump from Metalbat in terms of feats and abilities. I firmly believe that Genos will completely wash Sukuna despite being considered a fraud in his own verse. Genos at the beginning of the Hero Hunter arc was able to dodge and react to lasers and continued to get upgrades to his overall stats up to the fight against Zerechanyt. Genos is able to fight with and intercept her attacks, and this is important to his AP and speed scaling. You see, Zerechan's beams are so powerful they can slice through the earth like literal butter, lifting entire continent-sized portions of the planet with ease within seconds of them being launched. Genos is able to intercept and even split these attacks with his full power. Orochi, before fusing with Zerechanyt, could casually catch Awakened Cockroach with his horns, a monster who could automatically react and move at light speeds, and of course, being buffed by Psychos, Genos would scale at least to FTL to FTL Plus to be able to keep up with this new form of Orochi. With these stats, plus Genos' overall demeanor wanting to end the fight as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible, I doubt he would waste any time disintegrating both Sukuna and Mahoraga. You could argue Sukuna wins if he passes domain instantly, but even without intel, Genos has been shown to retreat from unfavorable positions and could easily clear 200 meters before cleave is even launched. Even when giving Sukuna planetary AP, he simply lacks the comprehensive speed to outscale Genos, and even beyond that, Genos can be scaled higher via some calcs and statements for Zerecha's beams, getting his AP even closer to planetary. Genos simply has the power and speed to erase Sukuna before he can even do anything worthwhile, even when wanking them both. Genos wins this fight with low difficulty, but could lose if caught off guard by a domain expansion. Flashy Flash is an interesting case. He easily is faster than Sukuna, meaning he has the potential to chop off his head before he can even begin to attack, but it's arguable if he has the damage to do so. Scaling closely to Darkshine, slightly higher since he was able to survive and keep up with Platinum Mask and Awaken Garo briefly, the highest we can give him is Island level, but Mountain level is more realistic since we'd compare him to Darkshine and all his feats and statements, which I'll get into later. Without dragging this section on too long, under the assumption they both have Island level attack and durability, Flashy Flash speed blitz and wins with no difficulty. But using statements from Sukuna to get him to planetary, Flashy Flash doesn't have the ability to ever harm him, allowing Sukuna to ever evolve with Mahoraga's wheel and potentially match his speed or get him with the domain expansion. I give Sukuna a win in this situation with medium difficulty since he would struggle to ever catch Flashy Flash to begin with. I should have included Watchdog Man earlier in hindsight, but he loses just because we don't have enough feats. Sukuna wins this one no diff. Darkshine is also another L for the S-Class heroes here in my opinion. Despite scaling above Carnage Kabuto, a monster with mountain levels of power, Darkshine can easily have his confidence broken, thus weakening him. By having decent speed feats, he has none of note that can scale him close to Sukuna, meaning a standard Cleave Barrage will leave him in shambles. Even Sukuna using Dismantle will likely shatter Darkshine's ego, or once he realizes his punches were ineffective due to Sukuna's higher stats, he become even more ineffective in battle. He may be able to scale Darkshine higher since he harmed or weakened Zerechanyt, but this was with the entire S-Class attacking, and his input is incalculable compared to everyone else's. Sukuna wins low difficulty. Oh, and if I didn't mention Mahoraga for like any of these other people, it's probably because he gets one-tapped here, even on the low end. Mahoraga's wheel is honestly more useful than he is in any of these fights, and that's the only reason why he's really included here. Drive Knight is another borderline featless character. He was able to take out a dragon level threat with minimal effort, while extremely fatigued, and these threats are threats to cities or multiple cities, some of which can be scaled to island to countryside depending on your perspective on the city's map and atlas that's been posted. Despite that, I believe Nyan was one of the weaker cadres and is more so a threat to a literal city level or city level expanses rather than the land masses themselves that these cities encompass. The highest I can give Dragonite based on feats is multi-city level to possibly island if using the map's city size estimates. However, Sukuna outstats him similarly to Dark Shine, taking this fight with a few blows without ever needing cleave. In fact, I'd argue a fire arrow is enough. Dragonite simply doesn't have the feats to compare with the other S-class heroes. Sukuna takes this with no diff? On the inverse end, King solos with his insane luck stats. Something like Saitama appearing or Sukuna somehow using cleave on himself, it's entirely possible. King kind of wins no diff unless you account the fact that he was sweat a little bit as low diff. However, I do think it's interesting to think that if King's luck creates an attack that doesn't kill them, similarly to when he created an attack that didn't kill Platinum S, would they adapt to his luck? If this were to happen, it's pretty much over for even King. Meta Knight is another borderline featless jobber and my least favorite character in One Punch Man. Meta Knight's arsenal is said to outscale any lone hero, and although this statement is likely complete bullshit compared to what Tatsumaki or Blast has shown, we will assume he sits right under the two in raw power. Just two of his robots outscale the entire A class, which are collectively around multi-city block level to town level plus or higher when considering Amai Masked. Now imagine an army of them against Sukuna, with the potential for Meta Knight to carpet bomb or even nuke him. As impressive as that sounds, I sadly don't think it's enough. In fact, Sukuna will likely tank and evolve against this even at the death of Maharaga. Some people wank Metal Knight to planetary in the assumption he has a nuclear arsenal that could wipe out the planet, but as far as I know, this is all speculation. Scaling to Elder Centipede, his strongest arsenal sits at around mountain level, meaning he lacks the stats to harm Sukuna and just gives him a lengthy and enjoyable battle against some robots. It's possible you could say that Metal Knight drags the fight on long enough to research Sukuna and somehow learn of a way to defeat him or harness his cursed energy in a way that's beneficial, but Sukuna has literal years and years of experience that I don't think Metal Knight can ever catch up with. The same can be said for Child Emperor, who scales lower than Metal Knight. This is a low diff fight, no diff fight for Child Emperor. Atomic Samurai has a cleave and dismantle ability of his own with his sword slashes that reach down to atomic level. The baseline AP of mountain level does remain for Atomic Samurai, but this isn't a low diff fight. His attack speed is something fierce and he wouldn't go down easy against Sukuna. It's likely Sukuna could and would evolve to his normal atomic slashes since Atomic Samurai doesn't have the AP to simply decapitate him, but with the Sunblade, I believe it's possible for him to give Sukuna a decent fight before unfortunately perishing. While having the speed to keep up, he lacks the stamina or power to put him down for good. Sukuna would enjoy this battle and commend him for his strength before popping a domain and ensuring a cleave ends him. Atomic is very headstrong and unlike Genos would likely not retreat, instead trusting surely in his blade and technique, which would be his downfall. Sukuna takes this low to mid diff, but I'm leaning more towards mid diff just because Atomic Samurai is that guy. Bang is an interesting case, and while I think in mere hand to hand he will wash Sukuna and humble him, with the scaling we've given him here, I doubt Bang could put him down for good. While it's unknown exactly where Bang lands, using the baseline at mountain level for the S class, just the high tier scale above Carnage Kabuto and Vaccine Man, Bang when using Awakening Breath would be at least large mountain level to contend with Gara at the time. Not to mention he would also be using Exploding Heart Release, which scaled him up another unknown degree. If you want some wiggle room, you can give him island level, but post Dark Shine, aka Sleeping Gara, wasn't going all out, so I doubt he's scaled directly to him. While Bang could arguably deflect a dismantle attack, since the verses are equalized in this situation, Cleave will go right through his technique and likely kill him instantly. Bang has the speed to make a fight a fair one, but lacks the definitive AP to change that. Sukuna wins mid-diff. Tatsumaki ends the win streak for Sukuna right here. Like I said before, without equalization for the verse, almost everyone here would take Sukuna very, very easily. And not only that, without me wanking Sukuna based more so on statements and implications, the likes of Bang would easily one-tap him, Atomic Samurai would use his toothpick to kill him, Metal Knight could send his default robot, etc, etc. So I hope no one feels too disrespected here. But, you know, obviously scaling him a little higher makes the video a lot more interesting. that does not save him from Tatsumaki. Tatsumaki has the power and speed to instantly kill Sukuna even when wanking them both to their max. I've done a whole video on Tatsumaki explaining her scaling, but basically she scales above Sakurachi, which would put her at least multi-continental to planetary depending on what calculations you use. Tatsumaki could toss Sukuna and Mahoraga into space, target their internal organs like brains or limbs to disable them temporarily, or simply imbue objects with their telekinesis, which in this case would be telekinesis / cursed energy, to smush them into nothing. Sukuna does have the potential to avoid being trapped in a barrier using domain amplification, and the same could probably be said for Mahoraga, who just kind of gets flicked away instantly by Tatsumaki. But regardless, Tatsu's other win cons still stand, with her ability to create deceptive clones, alter the terrain instantly, and create barriers of varying degrees that Sukuna would have to adapt to each time. It'll be hard and nearly impossible for Sukuna to simply outstat and adapt to her, even using cleave and domain expansions, which would never hit, to be honest. Tatsumaki takes this low to no diff. Still the champion of this series so far, alongside our final character, Blast. Blast is never even being perceived by Sukuna. Blast can BFR Sukuna at hundreds to thousands times the speed of light, punch him with power equal to a Garo who nearly pushed through Earth, created a literal gamma ray burst, and produced nukes with his casual punches. Sukuna dies here, and it's literally hilarious. Blast takes this negative diff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said before, I'm very new to Jujutsu Kaisen's verse and its scaling, so if I missed anything here, took anybody out of character, exaggerated too much, or didn't give enough leeway in some places, please let me know down in the comments. I know a lot of my usual subscribers are One Punch Man fans and believe that Sukuna would kind of cap out at around, like he probably would just stop at Genos. Not even Genos, he probably would stop like at Metal Bat. But I decided to equalize the stats as close as possible with each verse, and using some statements and a little bit of exaggeration for Sukuna, he definitely can be put at island level comfortably, or even planetary if you really just want to get crazy. Like I said before, he likely would lose to the S-Class very early on, as they just completely outstat him. There's even A-Class heroes that outstat him. But with Cleave and Domain Expansion, he does have the potential to take down some of the weaker ones even without wanking him. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you join the Discord, check out all the polls on the channel, and of course subscribe and like this video. As I said before, consider checking out that donation link if you want to request your own video. It's your boy Zeref signing off. Peace. Thanks for watching.